Well, let's go ahead and get started. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Rebel 11. My name is Joni Parsons. I'm co-creator of Rebel 11 along with Monica Smith, who is waving right there.
Hello.
Hi, Monica. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
So thank you so much for joining us. We're so excited to have Dr. Yasmine Mason with us this morning. She's calling in from Orange County. Dr. Yaz, as she likes to be, or as people call her, I would say, started the Farm in 2014, right?
Yes.
And she also had, her and her husband have an amazing chiropractic practice in Orange County as well for the last 20 years. So what an opportunity to have her join us this morning. The Fermentation Farm has gained in popularity since it started. It started in 800 square feet and has quickly grown to more than 5,000 square feet there in Orange County. What's unique about Yasmine and her team is she makes everything on site. So I can't wait to get there myself. I'm so excited. She has the knowledge and knows about the importance of fermentation and what it does for your gut health and how that equates to healthier living. With that, Dr. Yaz, I thank you so much for joining us this morning. We're so thrilled to have you. I thought it would be good because we have, I'm sure we have a lot of people on that are novices about fermentation and those that are experts, but will you just tell us about fermentation itself and what it is? Let's start there.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here today and, talk about gut health and fermentation, my favorite topic. I started Fermentation Farm, like you said, in 2014. And the reason I started that was because I started fermenting foods at home for my family. I would go to the health food store and buy this little teeny tiny jar, and I look on the ingredients, and it wasn't too complicated. My dad's a chef, and I grew up, on a farm, cooking lots of food, growing our own vegetables. And so I looked at the label, and I thought, oh, okay, this isn't too hard to make. And I started really looking into fermentation as it relates to gut health for our patients too. Our patients were coming in, more and more of them with just different digestive issues. We're chiropractors, but we help people with more than just chiropractic. We help them with their nutritional needs too. So, going through this fermentation revelation that I had, I started making more and more of these fermented products at home, and my kitchen became kind of overrun with kombucha and fermented yogurt and fermenting vegetables. And I started making lots of bone broth too for gut health. So it just kind of morphed itself out of my kitchen and then turned into Fermentation Farm a number of years later in 2014 when I actually opened the shop. But fermentation, to answer your question, what it is really just the breakdown of carbohydrates, right? So we need microbes, we need yeast and bacteria to break down the microbes. Those microbes break down the sugar in whatever we're fermenting. So if it's vegetables, we're breaking down, beet sugar and carrot sugar. So the sugars that are in those different vegetables are really what sparks that fermentation process. We need the yeast and bacteria to eat up and digest those carbohydrates. That's the basic definition of fermentation.
So a lot of us are eating fermented foods right now, but that we don't even know are fermented. So besides the ones that you just mentioned, are there other products that we're eating that are good for us that we're eating anyway?
Well, if you're eating properly fermented sourdough, right? So sour breads should be fermented. And
I think a lot of us have been eating a lot of sourdough during this time.
Yes, we've been selling an extraordinary amounts of sourdough starter. We have a starter with a little card that kind of teaches you how to maintain your starter and how to kind of get going on making that properly long fermented sourdough bread. So the reason why fermentation is great with grains, if we're talking about any fermented grains, is because it breaks down something called phytic acid, which is an anti-nutrient and a gut irritant. So by soaking grains or by fermenting grains, then we break down that phytic acid and makes that grain so much more digestible. Or even a legume like a bean or whatever. It's great to sprout those, or nuts. They all have phytic acid, that anti-nutrient that we really don't want a lot of in our gut. disrupts the gut. So by soaking, sprouting, fermenting all grains or nuts or seeds or legumes, then we can, remove that phytic acid and have a better digestive process when we're eating those foods. So sourdough's one. Coffee, chocolate, honey. These are things you're probably having every single day that you don't know are fermented. So again, or properly fermented organic coffee, the coffee bean itself ferments in the pod before it's roasted. There's a fermentation process that happens there because there are microbes on that little bean that cause the flavor of the coffee to be different the longer they let it ferment and sit in its little husk. So same thing with chocolate. Chocolate's in a big pod, same kind of thing. So the different qualities of chocolate is different, or the qualities are different as they ferment in the pod. Honey too, bees are fermenters. You probably didn't know bees are fermenters, but these are saliva and the microbes that they collect in pollen to make honey. So that's fermented.
So Dr. Yas, tell us about some of the examples you've seen of people who have come in not feeling great, and what do you tell them?
Everyone comes in with slightly different health issues, right? And for the most part, I get to touch base with people when we have our classes. I touch base with people when they email me. They send me a little email asking health questions, or they just walk into my office. I have an office right next to the shop, so they'll come in and ask questions, and I'm always happy to, help them. That's the reason why Fermentation Farm came to be, is because the need for our community, and pretty much every community that doesn't have a fermentation farm or any kind of access to fermentation, the community really needed it. And I just saw that, as I said, my kitchen was becoming overrun with more and more of these things. So more and more people were interested in getting their hands on properly fermented foods for gut health. So for the most part, I would say when there are many, many doctors in the area, chiropractors, medical doctors, even from the emergency room at Hoag Hospital, the nurses over there know about us, and they send people over when they have people coming into the emergency room with gut issues. So we get people from across the board, basically on the whole health realm. But it's just going back down to the basics, to increasing the gut lining, increasing the health of the gut lining is really going to propel people into a healthier state. And that's because that gut lining really holds our immune system. So our tagline at Fermentation Farm is healthy gut, healthy life. If you think about the gut being as healthy as it possibly can, that translates into your immune system being really, really strong. And if your immune system's really strong, you're less likely to have any of these ailments or sicknesses, illnesses, and then that leads to a healthier life, right? So that's kind of our...
So many people are talking about increasing your immune system right now with COVID, and, it's a good thing to do regardless if we're in a pandemic or not, right? So tell us about, and you've talked a little bit about this, but tell us about immunity and how boosting your immune system helps with your overall health.
So overall health has a lot of facets, right? Positive mental attitude, that really helps just all of yourself. If you're happy, if you're in your own self, you feel happy, all of your cells are happy. So there's tons of research that shows about positive mental attitude and health. But when the body starts breaking down, and there are certain organ systems in the body that start breaking down, then we have to start unraveling and figuring out why that is. Is it the food? Is it medications? What is it that's causing this, ill health to come about? And some people don't know. We have to dig quite deep. We don't know. Could be something that stemmed from childhood. There are a lot of different reasons why people are in the health situation they are. But the best thing you can do is get the gut healthy, again, to boost the immune system. We have things like our elderberry syrup that's antiviral, right? We can hardly keep that on the shelf right now, as you can imagine. You mentioned the COVID pandemic, and everyone is just trying to do what they can to keep their body the healthiest. So it all starts with gut health because of where the immune cells in the body lie. And if we have a permeated gut and all kinds of different microbes and things are getting through the gut lining that aren't supposed to, then we're going to see repercussions of that and ill health because of that.
Can you tell us one or two success stories that you've had, Dr. Yas, with fermentation?
Sure. I had a guy come in that had a very bizarre, I'd never heard of this, and I've pretty much heard of everything when it comes to the digestive system. he had a vomiting disorder. Every time he would eat, he couldn't keep anything down, and he'd lost 100 pounds, was very thin when he came in. And just by slowly incorporating a tablespoon of sauerkraut per day and drinking about 6 ounces of kombucha, just redoing the pH of his gut and re-inoculating. I gave him a probiotic also. So maybe if we have time, we'll talk about the difference between eating probiotic foods and taking a probiotic. But for that case, I recommended that he also take a probiotic because he was so depleted in the way his gut was digesting food and accepting food. So then, you know, he got better. Over a span of about 2 months, the vomiting disorder was gone. He could eat normally. But
wow, that's amazing.
That was about 5 years ago. We opened 6 years ago. That was 5 years ago he came to me. And he still comes in and he still drinks kombucha every day because that's the one thing that he really feels like keeps his system functioning.
So I think, you know, what you just mentioned about probiotics is really important. So will you talk about taking a pill versus drinking or eating probiotics, fermented foods?
Yes. So for most people that are healthy and that, you know, don't have a lot of health issues or digestive issues per se, immune system issues, you can just have a couple tablespoons of sauerkraut per day just to keep those good microbes coming in, and drinking kombucha, having some fermented yogurt or any other fermented products like that. But for people who have a depleted system, the reason why I recommend generally taking a probiotic capsule too is because there are billions and billions and billions. In one capsule, you can get 50 billion of 5 different microbes, right? That those are lab created, but they are ones that, you know, once they enter into our system, they go to work. The difference between that, like I said, they're lab created. There's maybe 5 different, 6, 8 different microbes in there. They're lab created, and there are billions of these 5 or 6 or 7, whatever, are on the bottle. You just look on the bottle, you can count and see how many microbes or different types of microbial bacteria or yeast are in there. Versus if you had a sauerkraut that came from the earth, so you had a cabbage, we shred the cabbage, we put salt on it, we make sauerkraut out of it, let it ferment, and it becomes sauerkraut. Nobody knows all the microbes that are on there. No one knows that. Science does not know that yet, right? Because that came from the earth. Those are soil probiotics. Those are probiotics that are a wide spectrum. We could say maybe there are 2,000 different types of microbes there, and who knows what your gut needs. If there are 2,000 different ones in there, say, then you eat that sauerkraut, you're getting a wide spectrum of those yeast and bacteria instead of just the 5 that are in the capsule that a human put in there, because those are the 5 most common in our human digestive tract, right? That's why they choose those ones when they do probiotic capsules. They choose the ones that are the most commonly occurring in our digestive tract as humans. If you see a dog probiotic or a cat probiotic, they have different microbes in their gut, so their probiotics are a little bit different, but the ones that are made for humans are generally those, you know, 7, 8-ish microbes.
So if I'm in good health and I want to maintain a great immune system moving forward, so I'm not dealing with a health issue, what would you recommend as far as how much to eat or drink per day of, you know, like sauerkraut or eating sourdough bread or kombucha? Like, what would be the minimum and maximum?
There's really no maximum. We have people that come in and eat crazy amounts of fermented vegetables, and like, how does one family eat that much? I don't know. Or they'll fill up 5 growlers of kombucha, and then every week they're coming back with their 5 growlers. So they're just drinking a lot. So there's not really a maximum. When you're first starting out though, introducing fermented foods into your system, you want to start out slowly, especially if you have any digestive issues. We're talking about Crohn's disease or IBS, C. diff, or any of these kind of you know, digestive issues that are plaguing people. Now, if you have any of these problems, you just want to start slowly. And by starting slowly, maybe 2 ounces of kombucha in a day with 1 or 2 tablespoons of sauerkraut. There's a lot of really great fermented coconut yogurts out there now. So those are great to have just a couple bites. You wouldn't want to eat a whole jar of sauerkraut. You might be in the bathroom for a while, is all I have to say, right? Because your system might not be able to tolerate that. So it's best to just kind of take a couple tablespoons, a couple sips of kombucha, see how that settles in your stomach for a few hours, and then the next day repeat. And then over time, as you build up these microbes, you can tolerate more and more fermented products. But initially, I always just say, you know, fair warning, just start slowly. If you have digestive issues, you don't want to throw yourself into a an uncomfortable situation.
So where does apple cider vinegar fall into the realm of gut health for you?
All vinegars are acetic acid, and they're fermented. They're fermented very similarly to kombucha. Kombucha is made with a SCOBY. I don't know if anyone knows what a SCOBY is. It's a symbiotic colony of bacteria and yeast. It's an acronym for that, symbiotic colony of bacteria and yeast. So the SCOBY houses the yeast and bacteria. So when we're making kombucha, we put tea and sugar into our big crock, and we have to put that SCOBY in there because that's introducing the yeast and bacteria, the good yeast, beneficial bacteria. They're going to eat that sugar and now convert all of the sugars into, or most of the sugars, not all, it's not 100% converted, but most of those sugars will be converted into organic acids, which is the acetic acid. So vinegar is acetic acid. Kombucha is also acetic acid. It's an acetic acid ferment, very similar, like I said, to vinegar. I'll talk about vinegar in a sec. But so the yeast and bacteria in the SCOBY eat the sugar, convert that to the acetic acid, organic acids, B vitamins, and the probiotics, all of the stuff that's really, really beneficial and really great for our health. So we're putting in sugar initially, but there isn't as much sugar at the end product, right? Because the sugar is the food for the yeast and bacteria. So as those sugars are being digested, we're getting those compounds that are really, really great for our gut, the probiotics, the B vitamins, and the organic acids. So a SCOBY, a symbiotic colony of bacteria and yeast, is also used, slightly different one, and we put that into apple juice, and that has a lot of sugar in it, and that's how we get apple cider vinegar. So the yeast and bacteria in the vinegar SCOBY, or the vinegar mother, will go down, eat not all again, but the majority of the sugar out of the apple juice, and that's how we get apple cider vinegar. Balsamic vinegar is the same way. It's grape juice, right? We put a SCOBY in grape juice, and there's sugar in grapes, and so that's the same process. So drinking apple cider vinegar is a fermented product. The pH of that product is really, really low, which is great, right? It helps acidify our system. It helps balance and alkalize. Even though it's acidic outside the body, a low pH, when we put it into the body, it becomes alkaline. So it's an alkalizing fermented product.
That's great. So let's get back to the Ferm Farm. So tell us, what is the experience when you walk in? Tell us a little bit about, the shop itself, and then you have some news about being able to order online that's going to be coming up in the new year. So tell us a little bit about that.
So the shopping experience is fun, I think. It's interactive. My staff, I work really, really hard on getting them trained on really helping every person and meeting every person where they're at when they come in the door. Some people just love kombucha and they're coming in because they just want to try a locally brewed kombucha. And that's kind of where it ends. But some people, like I said, are coming in the door and their doctors are sending them in because they've got such digestive issues. And so, we help people on whatever level it is that they want coming in the door. You can sample everything we make. So we have samples. We haven't been able to do sampling during the COVID, but for the past 5 years, excuse me, we have been able to. Sorry.
That always happens.
A little froggy.
No frog came about.
So we have a market basically. It's a little shop where we sell all of our products. Then we also have a commercial kitchen in the back where we make everything.
And then you mentioned to me that you have some exciting news in the new year that people will be able to order online.
Yes, we're expanding to include wholesale for restaurants. We have so many restaurants that have come to us and they want to either carry some of our fermented vegetables as a side or as part of one of their dishes that they create at their restaurant. We have many, many bars that want to carry our kombucha on tap at their bar or restaurant. So there's some state of California things that we have to do, some registrations and things like that. We have to register our food and the way we make things. It's called a HACCP plan. There's certain things with the state that we have to do in order to be able to wholesale. But we've created a wholesale office and we also do delivery, and we'll be introducing shipping too in the new year.
That's
so
terrific.
If anyone is interested in that, you can go to our website, which is fermfarm.com, fermfarm.com. You can find the website. And then if you wanted to be on our newsletter list to be abreast of when we are launching out our shipping, since most people probably can't just drive 5 minutes and come to the shop. Most people are probably from
And I'll be putting up that information in a few minutes. So
Okay.
two last questions before we get into questions is, why did you call it a farm? Like, there's a lot of, I've read all sorts of articles about you, Dr. Yaz, and it's so funny. Everybody's like, you know, why is it a farm? Why is it the Firm Farm?
So it's funny because what we're farming, I mean, little kids come in and they think they're going to see little piggies and little chicks and things like that. They're looking around for like the cow. Where's the cow? Where's the chick? Where are the piggies? And I'm like, that's not what we farm. But what we farm at Fermentation Farm are microbes, right? We have billions, trillions and trillions, not even billions, hundreds of, I don't know, in the Googles of numbers of bacteria and yeast that are growing in our farm, right? So those are our coworkers. We call all the yeast and bacteria our little coworkers. All we do is make the tea for the kombucha and put the SCOBY in. All the work is being done by the microbes. We, the humans, do really very, very little work. All the massive amount of work is when the yeast and bacteria are eating up the sugars and doing their conversion process so that we get those healthy elements for our health. But that work is being done by these microscopic little coworkers of ours that we have, again, trillions and trillions and trillions of them.
That's terrific. I love that. And then what most surprised you when you started the Firm Farm and what you've seen over the last 6 years? What's that biggest surprise?
I'm really, really surprised at the community outpouring of support for what we do, and then also for all of the doctors in the area. Since we're chiropractors, we know so many chiropractors in the area, so many medical doctors, so many, even dentists and optometrists, all the doctors in the area pretty much are sending their patients in. And that is probably the biggest shocker. I didn't see that coming, that so many doctors would also be talking about gut health with their patients, doesn't matter what discipline they do. And they just send all of them to us, which is so fantastic because we get the opportunity to help people on that grand scale.
Well, Dr. Yaz, thank you so much. I'm going to toss it over to Monica with some questions from our participants today. So Monica, go ahead and take it away. And thank you so much.
Dr. Yaz, do you have any suggestions for home fermenting? Bettina had tried green beans and said that they went moldy. So she's wondering if there's any suggestions you might have.
Moldy usually is because they weren't submerged completely under the brine or under the liquid. So your vegetables, you always want to have them completely submerged. So you want to have a plate or a stone or something, or a fermenting weight that's going to press those vegetables down under the brine. So if you think about kombucha, that's an aerobic ferment, which air is okay to touch the SCOBY, but when you're doing vegetable fermenting, that's an anaerobic ferment, and all those vegetables have to be completely air-free or they will get moldy. So it's just two different types of fermentation, and veggies have to be submerged. So that would be my tip there. And then Sandor Katz, he's who I learned fermenting from initially 10, 12 years ago when I started fermenting at home. His books were pretty much the only thing out there. His little website, Wild Fermentation, was pretty much the only thing out there 10, 12 years ago. So I love him, and I had the opportunity to go do a fermentation residency at his home in 2017, which was amazing. So anyway, Sandor Katz, get his books. We sell his books at the shop. They're really, really great for home. But that's where I started. So for doing things at home and kind of reading through some of the, troubleshooting, he's really, really great at that.
And Anne wants to know if Firm Farm makes drinking vinegars.
Well, our kombucha is a drinking vinegar, if you think about it, because it is acetic acid, but we don't make like shrub drinking vinegars. We don't have, we sell one from, there's one really good drinking vinegar. I'm blanking on the name now. It's from Arizona. Sorry. I'll maybe shoot that out to you.
Okay. But speaking of vinegars, how long do they last?
Well, so fermented products are good forever, right? They're fermented, they're preserved. It's a preservation process. So fermentation was not always just for gut health, right? It was for preservation. So, if we're going back 4,000 years when fermentation kind of came about, it was for preserving food. It wasn't for, and because of the microbial process, the microbes really help preserve that food. So they last forever. They don't really ever go bad.
Does that include balsamic vinegar as well?
Yep. All vinegars, anything fermented really doesn't go bad. They might get so sour you can't eat it, like say a yogurt, say a fermented yogurt. It might get so sour that you don't want to eat it, but you can always just put a little bit of honey and sweeten it up. It never goes bad. Those microbes keep fermenting in there and preserving that product, so it never goes bad. And the microbes that are present in fermentation, they bring the pH level of that food or drink down below 4.4 pH. And once we're below 4.4 pH, no pathogenic bacteria can live. So you can sneeze in it, cough in it, eat off of a spoon, stick it back in there, and those microbes will normalize that because no pathogenic bacteria can live in that low pH.
That's great. I think I covered all of the questions in the chat, but if I didn't, please feel free to ask. Just remember to unmute yourself. Any questions? Joni, any last questions from you?
I just, so go ahead. Did somebody have a question?
Yeah, sorry, it's Bettina here. Again, just how long can you keep sourdough discard? Can you keep that forever?
Forever. Yeah, the one I have is 200 years old.
Even if you're not refreshing it?
Oh no, you have to keep feeding it. So with sourdough, there's the school of thought is if you keep it on your counter, you have to feed it once a day. If you keep it in your fridge, you have to feed it once a week. And if you keep it in the freezer, you have to still defrost it and feed it once a month. So once a day, once a week, once a month, depending on where you are in your sourdough making, but you have to keep feeding it because it's a fermentation, right? That's what's so great about it. These are living microbes. It's kind of like saying, how long can I keep my dog if I don't feed it? Well,
yeah, that makes sense. But
it dies because it starves. So your sourdough will also starve to death. And so you have to either feed it once a day on the counter, once a week in the fridge, or once a month if you freeze it.
Okay, thank you. I was thinking about the one that you don't, the rest of what you don't feed. There's recipes for that and how.
Oh, for your discard. Sorry, you did say discard. Sorry. I think if you put it in the fridge, it will last weeks and weeks. And it's a discard, so you don't really mind. And if you're going to use it in pancakes or, something that's, you can just, if you keep it in the refrigerator, it'll last weeks.
Okay, great.
And you can tell because it gets the gray liquid on top or the orangey liquid on top. So once it gets to that point, you probably want to just throw it out, especially if it's a discard. But if you keep it in the fridge, it won't do that as readily.
Okay, thank you. That's great.
Thank you, Dr. Yes, so much.
Yeah, that was really terrific. I can't wait to come down and visit the farm.
Yay, come down.
Yay.
Come say hi.
And we had her website up.